you are looking to grow, which is good. Few words about myself. I am Benedetto. I am Italian. I started Fox Finance 6 years ago. I'll give you a little bit of understanding of my journey. And later after that, at any point, by the way, just ask me a question, because my journey would have been your journey, right? Like, I started from an accelerator. I was there. I know what it means. I've done more than one accelerator, and now I'm helping others as a mentor, and I really enjoy that. And if there is something that I learned through my career, that there is no question that is stupid besides those that are not asked. So anytime, let's do this. Ask me anything. And I'm not going to have a presentation. I just want it to be me telling you how I raised what I raised, how I did what I did, and then you can we can learn from each other. So my story is pretty simple. I was a DeFi user. I was the 2020, so it was the beginning of. I wasn't even a user. I was making some money trading because I thought it's good, it's gonna grow. And I was working as a project manager in a software house. And then I had the idea of launching on a chain that was different than Ethereum. And the software house was partner of Algorand. So we were like, okay, let's build something DeFi on Algorand. And we started to look, and we saw there was an accelerator, which was organized by two VCs. One is Eterna, one is Eterna Capital, and one is Borderless Capital. And so we built a pitch deck, very simple. We knew how to build on-chain softwares as a software house. It was personally my first experience in a fundraise, so I didn't know anything. I didn't know what was a term sheet. Really zero. So for me, an accelerator was actually a very good starting point. And yeah, we applied, we've been selected, and I was able in the 3 months of the accelerator to learn a lot of things that I should have done. The accelerator, Borderless really liked the idea that we knew how to build and we could build. So they were interested in being supportive of us, but they kind of went through a DD process that was kind of long. So they started to give us, challenges like, okay, demonstrate that you can build. So we built a first MVP, and we started to then draft a term sheet. We had them as a lead investor, and after that, I started. So the deal was, okay, this is the term sheet. Now demonstrate us that you can fill the round. It was initially, I think, $2 million. That's 10 million valuation. And then my role as a CEO was like, okay, I'm going to talk with everyone I can. And obviously, understand it was 2021. The market was, it was 2021, yes. The market was very boiling. There was a lot of money going in. But I did this pitching for more than a year. Like, I started the accelerator in October 2020. I closed the round in January 2022. So even though the market was good, I spoke with over 100 VCs, back and forth with many. And the strategy for me at that point was like, okay, we understand we can raise. And also I was supported by Borderless. But the thing that differentiated was it's not about it's not about the money you raise, but it's from who you raise. So for me, in the process was, I started to speak with low tier VCs, and the more VCs I would speak with, and the more new intro I would get from just referral. And it kind of at some point went hyped that I had all of those, I don't know what's their name, like people who refers you to VCs. There are a lot on Telegram. And it it just was at some point, I had like every day 6-7 calls with VCs. And until this went into a kind of a good positive loop, because from speaking with, let's say, not very important VCs, I started to get better and better intro. And at the end, we closed a seed round that was initially $2 million. It went extended to $3 million. It was initially 10 million valuation. It went to 15, simply because at some point, big VCs came, won't say the name, and say, look, I want to join and I want $500,000. I was like, look, there is no space because the round is 2 million. And we're like, okay, go and speak to your lead investor and say that we want $500,000 and we do 3 million at higher valuation. So this taught me, and that I use it always in my journey at Folks, in my career, that when you push hard and when you put a lot of effort in something, good things comes by themselves. I wasn't looking to increase the round increased by itself. And some people may say this is luck, but I'll tell you something that my instructor of spearfishing used to tell me. There is no luck in the fisherman, because the fish doesn't come to the bed. You need to wake up at 5 a.m., prepare your equipment, go in the cold water, and then the big fish comes to you, okay, but you did something for it. So my suggestion in this first part is, do not lose motivation ever. Even for me, at some point, was like, receiving a lot of no. So obviously you receive a lot of no. But the fact that I was keeping pursuing these, like, it was like, I haven't got $1 for more than 1 year. And then at some point they came all together. And this type of persistence is what you need when doing this process, in my opinion, because it can be very, very tiring. This is the first paragraph of my seed part. Do you have any questions regarding that? Then we can break down more things of lesson one by one. But I'm happy to, just as a summary, the round was led by Borderless with participation of Jump, Parafy, Coinbase, OKX. So it was a pretty good cap table.
I have a quick question on that. And by the way, everyone,
Yes.
feel free to unmute whenever. But you mentioned that you went from kind of the lower tier to the higher tier investors. And initially you were speaking also to those kind of introducing middlemen sort of guys. Yeah. Would you say if they were valuable, or is it better to just stick to the investors and ask the investors to introduce to other investors?
Obviously, an investor who is willing to introduce you to other investor, it's better. And I'll tell you, like, for me, it was also like when someone wanted to join, in one of the things I will tell them how you support me is like, make new intro. Like they usually at the end of every call, I always think like, okay, how you're going to support me? Because it's not just about the money. Someone may provide capital. Someone may not be able to, like TVL. Someone cannot do this. Someone can do marketing. When you can't, I will just tell them, okay, can you make some intros for me? Because I'm looking to expand, and it would work. Now, the middlemen are still good. I'll tell you, like, when they are good to create the FOMO, they do the work that you would need to hire 2 people to do it. They have a full list of VCs. They just spam your blurb, and everyone gets to know that you are raising. And I don't see anything bad in it. Also because, in my opinion, this gives you visibility, even if it's spammed into a group, even if it's angel investors, whatever. The fact that the same person may receive from 2 of those middlemen your blurb, this is like, okay, maybe I should. First time doesn't even read it. Second time, maybe he's paying attention to it. So I think it's good overall, and you need to use both. Anthony?
I just have a quick question about that concept, because I had approached our round under the pretense that I didn't want it to sit open for too long and look stale. Is that, am I misgauging that sentiment, that VCs could look at a round sitting open and idle for an extended period of time and think that looks troublesome?
Well, I understand what you say. I did put when they ask me, do you have a deadline? I will give it. Then it's postponed because we are oversubscribed. It's a very good problem to have. I think that the important thing for the one that you are keeping in touch of not having a deadline, it would be more like giving constant updates in case they ask, and not being, in my opinion, it's not about the deadline itself. It's about, if you are doing nothing in the middle, that's a problem. But if there is a deadline which is being postponed for a good reason, which can be even like, I want first to launch the MVP for whatever reason. I don't know, I want first to, another reason, I'm talking with the exchanges first. It's fine. Like, then we will go to my second round, and I tell how I did this second one, which was totally different, and we will see the different scenario. But I don't think there is a secret recipe for that. And since we touched this, I think that fundraising is a bit like hunting or dating. I think that those two things goes very similar. Like, you need to understand who you have in front of you. You need to understand what they are looking for. Ideally, you will need to do a little bit of due diligence as well. Usually, at least, I use it to check their portfolio company. So I see if they are understanding DeFi. So I know that I no need to go there and explain what's TVL. I see that they invest in DEX in this specific chain, so I can take the pitch connected to that. So be smart, be prepared. Those things don't. I think that's in general about things, but specifically when talking to VCs, I think that the hook them up is when it is into the details. You don't want to go on the call like, another VC, okay, I'm going to do my standard pitch, whatever, and that's going to be like that. Did I answer you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other question? Okay. 1 second, I have to send a message. We go to the second part of the fundraise. Okay, so this fundraise for me was done before the mainnet. So for me, it was also kind of very strategic, on this point. When you launch a product, you never know how it goes. So I wanted to close the round on purpose before we launch the product. So I was like, okay, I secured my $3 million. We have been building all the time. Now we can launch it and see how it goes and put the strategy on top. So we launched in April, so a few months after, 1 week before Terra Luna crash. Disastrous, I guess everyone was leaving DeFi. It was not good at all. But nevertheless, like, we had this consistent persistence of, always fighting. Plus, we were the first lending protocol on Algorand initially, and then we had a competitor that arrived to mainnet before than us. So we were not even first mover advantage, plus Terra Luna crash. It wasn't easy at all. However, one of the things that I asked to the investors in the SAFT was to have a commitment of TVL. So we launched already with, I don't remember, it was like $5-6 million TVL, which was good overall. Like, this beginning for a DeFi protocol is kind of very, very supportive. Now, TVL, in my case, is extremely important, but you have different startups, different business, think of what's needed from you from an investor. You want the investor to be actively helping you in whatever they can do. Like an investor just for the money is not that useful. Of course, I understand at some point we need money, and money is money, so get it from everyone. But if you can, select the one that are helpful. So we launched our product, slowly fighting through the bear market and competing. We became the largest DeFi app on Algorand. But even when we reached the top, then we wanted to grow more, right? It's even if we were profitable, everything was relatively good, but we wanted to expand. So we decided to start to build this cross-chain lending protocol. Lending is our expertise. It was impossible for us with the treasury we had to go into this challenge, because it was a very innovative product that it required us a large investment. So we decided to do a new round. And Borderless was at that time also supportive of Wormhole, which is a messaging layer, so part of our tech stack. And we had this lack of being coordinating with them, and also launching a new round on this new cross-chain expansion. So again, here, I think that the important part was also like the vision, right? Like the first part was we are launching on Algorand as a leading DeFi app, and Algorand at that time was one of the potential Ethereum killer. So we rode this narrative. Then second part, we are a leading app in an important layer one. We are about to launch a new product which is disruptive. We need money to achieve this mission. So the round was done at the same way. Borderless give us a term sheet, but no money until we complete it. So again, I started this process, which lasted again at least 1 year. Speaking with even more VCs, because at this point I knew a lot. I knew many. I started to reach out all the old one and reaching new. In the end, I had the same effect. We started at 50 million. It went oversubscribed. We reached 75 million valuation and raised a total of $3.2 million in this round. The differentiator here was that at this point, we needed the money. Like the money was scarce, and we were already investing ourselves to build this new product. We started to accept more money without being super diligent about the investors. The round didn't have, to be honest, like the big name of the seed round, but we were okay, because the important part in general for the future, like also when you approach a listing, and we can talk about this in the other lecture, is that you have the big name. Doesn't matter when they invested. So, for example, having Coinbase in your cap table is like a quality check that it's going to help you in a lot of things later. Which doesn't mean that the big name is going to help you actually doing something. But for the name, certain things are needed. Anyway, so we started to accept tickets. We filled the first part. Then there was a lot of investors that wanted to add more. The hype was, we were able to create again hype. And totally we did this $3.2 million. Then we launched the product. Again, same story. I didn't launch the product until we closed the round. Because I do think that there are very little products that, especially in DeFi, you launch and they quickly grow. There is need of time, of incentives, and so on to launch the market, especially in a lending if you don't have deposits, you can't have borrowers. So it's a bit of need a little bit of time to roll this. So yeah, we did that. It was successful. Then we were able to launch our new product. Then we went off into the listing 1 year after, which was also very good. And yeah, this is the journey of folks. One important part that I think I also learned a lot is to be able to be flexible. I think we have adapted a lot of, in general, this for the fundraise, yes, but in general in the startup, you don't need to be stubborn, and sometimes it's much harder to say a no than say a yes. So the important part is to feel how you need to drive this carriage around a road full of stones. And one thing that I also think that is valuable to you guys is in the very beginning, I would be very, very wise with the spending of the money, because I've seen founders raising alongside me, more than me, and finishing those in nothing, like spending on sponsoring parties, on side events, which you may have your own reason to do that, but if you have money for building and you have a commitment from investors, you have to build. So yeah, I'll stop for some questions and then we can continue. Yes, Anthony?
You mentioned you didn't launch your products until you had closed your rounds, and again, it's very kind of polar opposite to our approach and our thought process right now. So I'm just curious on your thoughts on how we're looking to approach. We are having some difficulty now. The context is I started with T1s, and I have a weird position in this industry in that I ran an accelerator myself. I've worked on the venture side, so I know a lot of these VCs already. So finding them is not the hard part. Now, so we chatted with like Arrington Capital, 1KX, some of the bigger names, and I wanted to focus on those because, as you mentioned with your round, strategic value is far more important than the money. But for most of them, it appears that we're too small, too early, and execution risk is a problem, right? So I'm kind of faced with the challenge of, do I try and find top tier angels, guys like Luca, or do I want to go to a lower tier investor and not necessarily get the strategic value, but still get the money, which is convenient. We don't need the money, but it's convenient. Or go the route that we're looking at now where we say, forget it, let's fill the round ourselves. So we are liquidating some assets, we're putting that aside so we have dry powder. And we may close our round, go to market very subtly and organically, and then come back and open a new round. Do you think that would set the wrong tone if we come back at a new round with a higher valuation later after filling our own, if we get the traction that we're looking for to justify the valuation?
So look, as I said, this is it's a hunting, like you do what is needed to do to win here, right? I know people who faked commitment. It's not me, okay? Like I never did that, but I know companies who faked commitment from others, agreed with the investors, like they would go to tier 3 investors and say, look, can I put your name in the cap table? And if I'm able to raise more later, I give you a cut. Man, it worked. It's ethically not correct.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to go that route. I think we would have to be open and transparent and say that we filled it ourselves. My partner has a family office. So
it's okay. It's totally fine. I don't think it's wrong. But my point is here, the lecture that you have to do what's best for your startup, okay? If you feel that there is something wrong in the pitch, that something is wrong, it's not working, find a way to fix it. Okay. It's a bit different, but I remember every pitch I would have done with investor, I would remember the question they ask and where I would fail in answer, and later on go and edit the pitch deck so that or I already addressed this question or I avoid them to asking in some way. So I think that's, again, going to the basic of be flexible. I think it's totally fine what you are doing. I would personally appreciate it. Maybe other VCs wouldn't appreciate. I then change it, learn about it. But also on the part of reaching out directly to tier one. So I was going out from a seed round where I onboarded name like Coinbase, and I was like very confident. I go to the other round and I get other tier one investing. I received obviously a lot of no, which is normal. And then I was like, okay, let's talk to the tier two, tier three. I filled the round. So probably if I would have done the contrary, it may have worked again, and I had the lesson from the seed round, which I would have, where I was successful, and I didn't apply it because I was a bit more cocky. So my suggestion is, if you need the money, start lower, and if you need the tier one because you need the name, just wait. You're also saying me that you have the money, and it's not a big deal. So go for the name, but build the momentum around, because that's way easier. Because the thing is this, SBF is the perfect example of that, but people trust more if they think that someone else has done the DD, and they wouldn't go into the due diligence process so heavily. So if you have other names, even if they are lower tier, that's going to help for you anyway. Yes.
Okay, noted. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question? So one thing that I wanted to talk about it a little bit, because Neil, go on. Neil, you are on mute.
Oh, sorry. Hi. Yeah, just following on from that, it's almost like you're saying that where everybody else wants somebody else to take responsibility for the DD, that's why they're asking who the lead is, who is the lead, who is the lead, who is the lead. If you have no lead, how do you get someone to be a lead?
There is ways of doing that. Definitely, it's way more difficult to get a lead than get all the others. But one answer is you are in an accelerator. That's also part of the accelerator job, I guess, introducing you to potential lead. I did this way. It worked for me. I think that participating to this type of program, it's useful in many parts, and this is one of those. Otherwise, it's a little bit tricky. Now, look, if tomorrow I would go and raise for another company, just for the fact that a lot of our investors from the seed round, they were able to make some money, I would be able to probably do it very easily, right? Like just the track record and the connection and everything. But if I would go back to when I just started this and I just would look for the leads, it probably would be more tough. The way I would suggest to someone to do it is, I don't like cold emails. Some people like it. Some people think that they work well. To attract with cold emails, maybe nowadays with AI is a little bit easier, but it needs to be a very good email. And anyway, the conversion actually happens when you speak with someone. So there you need to have the human skill. I think that with the lead, you need to find someone which is very, very interested in what you're building. So example, I was building an Algorand product, and the Borderless just launched the Algorand fund, and they wanted to find DeFi builders for Algorand. So I was the perfect use case for them to lead.
All the stars aligned.
Yes, same in their new cross-chain fund. They needed the product to be the normal. Okay, it was again very good example for them to lead. So you want the lead as much as he wants you. That is what I would say. So based on what you are building, try to find the VC, which is very in target with what you are doing. And honestly, if you don't have a connection, maybe you first look for one through mutual connection. And if it's very hard, then go with the cold outreach. I would say try whatever you need to try. Like there is, I would start from, maybe you ideally personal meeting somewhere in an event, the person is speaking, you go there and you target it. I have some friends who are hustler to a level that I'm not like this, but you want an investment from I don't know, A16Z, you go and see where the person from the team is speaking, and you go there and try to speak with him and pitch what you're doing. And it doesn't, it might not work. Depends also what are your skills. I think this is important for you to reflect, guys. Like I'm personally not good in writing cold emails. I will do not use this. I think I'm relatively good in doing it in a video call, in a pitch, or in a personal meeting. I would rather focus my energy in that. But yeah, I think that's the way you will find it. And the lead, he would need to see a specific important vision for him to be a lead investor in you. And there might be many. There might be many reasons.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So this is an interesting topic, actually. Okay, Lev?
Yeah, I got a question. I'm particularly curious about one thing. Well, we're deciding between raising a pre-seed now or staying lean and pushing for stronger traction and go for a seed round. So going for a pre-seed now would accelerate things meaningfully, but I also think that there's a path to reaching a stronger position without having to necessity to do it.
Okay. This is something that I've seen a lot into founders. I'll tell you something. I never stopped racing in my life. Like if there is someone who want to invest, you talk to it, and it's even okay just to keep the conversation. So that's also how you keep this momentum. And I understand maybe at some point you are doing other things, you don't want to put energy into it. Look, nowadays with AI, you can have an assistant who does everything for you, and you just need to go on the call and pitch it. It's not anymore as before where you would spend nights in building the pitch deck. Now it's so easy. So for me, this is an excuse to avoid doing something which is annoying. I understand it is very annoying. It's frustrating to receive no. But from my experience, never stop, keep going hard, and you will see that it will pay well. Just try to learn from what is the feedback of the no, if it's a no or something. And even if in the end you don't want the money, because you are saying what you are saying that maybe later you can do directly a seed and it's better for your terms. And while you are doing the process, doing a round is not something that happened in 1 month. Both of mine took 1 year and 1 year. So in 1 year, meanwhile, we were keeping building. It's not that we hold like this and say, okay, after the round we keep building. And no, I think that you should never stop raising. And if you don't want the pre-seed, just go for the seed. It's fine. Just say, look, this is my terms, like it or not, or buy. Any other question? Guys, your questions are the best thing for me. Actually, because like this, we are anyway covering a lot of topics that I had in my mind. Yes, does.
Yeah, Dan, thank you so much. This was very insightful. I think my question is just more about like the structure of the round and how you go about raising, because I know sometimes if you outreach to an investor and they pass, it's difficult for them to regain conviction to then invest. So how do you first get that lead without like, burning bridges or having investors not interested in the short term? They say come back in 6 months when you have more traction. What's like a very effective strategy of like getting that first lead to them before you then bringing the rest of the investors to complete the round?
Well, I don't think that investors, it's not a one-shot opportunity. There might be, but in my experience, even if you look at, let's say, YC Combinator, which is, extremely difficult to go in, they kind of encourage people to apply multiple times and to send updates. And if you apply now, it's 14th of April, and they say well, you speak to ABC, they say, no, we're not interested. And then you text them 2 months after, and you have zero update, no hook to take their interest. Of course, at this point, I will not even answer to you anymore. But if in 2 months you text, hey, look, I wanted to touch base with you. We have received $1 million in commitment. We have achieved these. Maybe I was thinking you will be interested to having a chat again. Let them feel they are losing on something, that they did a mistake before. So this, I think it's kind of okay. And it can work. I think like even for me, let's say sometime this is how they use these strategies on LinkedIn when they do the cold outreach, right? Like first message is something and then after a bit it's something else. But sometime when in the third message I see there is actually something that I'm missing, then I may reply. So I don't think that it's a one shot. It might be in certain case, but maybe it's a little bit more difficult. I don't know. This depends also on the way this is being done. But I don't agree that it's a one-shot opportunity.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, one thing I wanted to talk about the difference between token project and non-token project. Okay, this evolved a lot over the years. I think that if, for example, like us, you are a DeFi project which is not generating equity revenue, there is no reason to do equity, okay, unless you have something that it's really generating revenue and connected to the equity. An investor will like a token. Generally speaking, a token is a way easier exit for investor, and it's understandable that token investment might be easier. Now, Alex probably will be able to tell you more about this. Token launches nowadays are, pure bleeding from everywhere. We'll talk about this maybe later about the exchange listing in the next. But I think a token, it is a powerful way of being able to raise funds in an easier way. Now, brackets. If you don't need a token, don't do one token raise. Like there is several ways why you may want a token for your product. And again, the guys can help you more than me on that. So if you can put a token and it works, good, use it for the raise. If not, leave it. It's a lot of headaches at the same time. So I think this, I've been asked a lot of time, if doing a token raise or not. There isn't a secret recipe, but if you are able to have a token and utilities in your product, then it makes sense, in my opinion, to have it for the fundraise. And because I think I heard of some of you, there is a bit of mix. I'm doing safe, but someone may have token. Don't make this mixed salad or one or the other, because you're just going to disappoint others, and it doesn't feel professional, in my opinion. What it can be is that you have the token as main value, but some investor may also want the equity. I've seen this. I've done this. That's just a way for them to have legal hooks on you, because they know that the token is meaningless when speaking about legal part in the equity. Yeah. But I hope this generates some questions. No?
Yeah, tokenomics in the cohort is quite quite well covered. A lot of the projects.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yes, good. I'm sure it is. I just want to say that for the fundraise, it's easier, because also you will be able to attract a lot of DAOs, which are still existing, launch pads. Yes, the token open you kind of more of opportunities to raise, in my opinion. It also closes some, because you would probably not have some VCs, like let's say if you are raising in traditional finance, some of them, they wouldn't invest in token-based projects. I received a lot of no because of this. But yeah. Then guys, I think again, just a little bit of summary. When talking with the investors, I would say understand who you have in front of you. My suggestion is don't start the pitch unless they want it to be directly there. Tell me who you are and what you do very quickly. Some people may request this. Others, like me, I prefer to, whenever I speak with someone, to have a little bit of who you are, what do you do, like connect at a human level. I think that this building a relationship is very, very important, and it helps people to remember you, to consider you not just as a project, but a lot of time when, especially speaking with analysts who have to review like 50 projects per day, they just very quickly fill the Excel in front of you, so they don't care about your hobbies. But yeah, that's yes, Daniel.
Yeah, from my side, actually, you mentioned analysts there, and I've got a question. Would you say it's better for founders to try and reach out and get in contact with the analyst to do the DD, or is it better to speak directly to people who are like fairly high up at the VC and put it down? Like, where did you get the most success from? I
think that if, let's say, if you go to a conference and you meet the managing partner of a big fund, and you talk to him, and he will tell, yes, you can talk to our analyst, and he introduced to the analyst, way better than just speaking to the analyst itself. Like, if for me, it's like the same. I would imagine myself, something come from my boss, I will take it more seriously. And anyway, the boss is the one who makes the final decision. So if he liked you in the very beginning, he also can go against the value, the summary, the valuation bring up from the analyst. So
okay, thank you. Yeah, that's good insight for me.
Ideally, yes, but if it's a cold reach out, I don't know. I would even try both. Who cares?
Okay. I guess I'll let you go, Alex.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna say, I guess that's been a very, very insightful lecture, Ben. Thank you very much for that. I've made quite a lot of notes that I'm gonna send into the chat as well. And of course, for anyone that couldn't attend, we'll send them the recording. But I know we have the majority of projects here, but obviously not everyone from the team per project. So I feel like for everyone that is here, it'd be good for you guys to re-listen to the lecture once again with the other team members, because honestly, as far as fundraising goes, I feel like this has been the most information packed and insights packed kind of hour that I've ever had. So even for us, to be fair, we've learned quite a lot here. But I think the difference between the seed and private round is very interesting. I honestly, you covered so many things and answered so many questions that I don't really have any other questions. But I guess, Ben, obviously you're in the group chat already. So guys, if any of you have any questions or would like to speak to Ben about kind of further assistance,
of course, or even if you want some info to some VCs, you can ask me. Of course, I never say no, and I don't take any referral. So
no, amazing.
Use me.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for getting us Borderless for the cohort as well. We want to get him to be a judge at the pitch competition too. But yeah, thank you very much for that. We'll see you then next week for the lecture on speaking to exchanges, which I'm sure will also be incredibly valuable for everyone here that wants to have a token. But yeah, thank you very much. I'll ping the notes and I'll send you the YouTube videos.
Thank you. Best of luck to anyone. Bye.
Cheers, everyone. Bye-bye.